a massive barrage of rockets sent to southern and central Israel in recent hours. Sirens sounding in many cities, including here in parts of Tel Aviv, Jaffa, Bat Yam, and in the south, Kisufim, Nirim, Kfar Aza, and Storot. It's 20 days into the war, 20 days since the Hamas killing rampage. The death toll is at more than 1,400. More than 5,400 people were wounded. A targeted raid in northern Gaza overnight. The IDF hitting 250 Hamas targets, including a rocket launcher hidden in a mosque and a kindergarten. President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking once again, discussing ways to free at least 220 hostages being held captive by the Hamas terror group in Gaza. The hostages come from 25 different countries, ranging in age from a 9-month-old baby to an 89-year-old man. So far, 4 female hostages have been freed, and Qatar says it's making progress in efforts to secure a hostage release. And in recent hours, Benny Gantz, member of the War Cabinet in Israel, saying the country will ultimately make its own decisions over its plans in this war, following several reports that America was pressurizing it to delay its Gaza ground invasion. Horrific new gruesome details emerging out of one of Israel's southern communities targeted by the Hamas terror rampage on the 7th of October. Kibbutz Be'eri, which was decimated by terrorists in an onslaught that lasted more than a day. The IDF's Colonel Golan Vach outlining this disturbing discovery in the early days of the war, and a warning that these details, which are being released officially today, are difficult to hear.
Along the way that we have just walked, we found 20 victims, all dead. But when we got to this house, I saw something I never faced before. It was a woman lying here. It was still burning, so she could be recognized. She was shot in the back, and she was protecting a baby. A baby, small baby, I don't know exactly, 1 or 2 years, and the baby was decapitated. I carried the baby in my own hands.
More accounts and more evidence of unadulterated evil. Now for more, we welcome to studio Dr. Avi Bitzur, the head of the Home Front and National Security Studies at Beit Berl Academic College, and Professor Nir Kedar, the president of Sapir College. Thank you, gentlemen, both of you, for being here in studio.
Thank you for having us.
As we process, Professor, the hideous report that we just heard now, the new confirmation, the new details, the evil that unfolded on the 7th of October, you and your college have suffered major losses at Sapir College. Talk to us about what the 7th October means for Sapir College.
7th October means devastation. I mean, we are the academic institution which is the closest to the Gaza Strip. We are located 3.5 kilometers, less than 2 miles from the border. Many from our community live in the area, in the Gaza envelope. We have more than 250 staff and faculty who live there, and several hundreds, almost 1,000 students who live in the area. If you take the wider area between Ofakim and Ashkelon, we have about 2,000 more people living. That brutal attack caught the community of the college. We have major losses. I mean, 2 of our students were assassinated, and 7 of our faculty and staff members, and one member of our board was assassinated. Most of them, I'm very sad to say, they were assassinated together with the families. I mean, brutal assassinations. And if you take the second circle of alumni, of family members, we have dozens more. dozens more of casualties, people who were taken hostage to Gaza, people who were assassinated, killed, people who were wounded. So our college suffered a great loss. Both people who live in Sderot and people who live in the kibbutzim and the moshavim, all around in the Gaza envelope from the north to the south. And another problem was that even those who weren't killed or wounded or taken hostage, they have suffered huge trauma. These entire days in the shelters, trying to close the shelters when the Hamas tried to burst inside. And now most of them are dispossessed. I mean, all of them. They don't live there anymore. They are
evacuated.
They were
elsewhere.
evacuated to other parts of the state, of the country. I'm sorry. And we have people. My faculty and staff now live between Tiberia and Afula in the north to Eilat in the south. Many of them suffer from trauma. And another problem is that it's very hard from the administrative point of view to run the college, because people, they're refugees basically. They live in different hotels and other parts. Some of them couldn't take anything with them. I mean, barely their clothes, and that's how they were evacuated. And this is both a trauma, a very tragic trauma, and it's very hard now to rerun the college. To start to talk with those people, to hear their stories. And
one can only imagine how horrific. So much devastation in a close community.
Exactly.
Working together, studying together.
Knowing each other.
The collective trauma we spoke about. The fact that the whole nation is in shock. And even today, we're hearing more details emerging of more carnage. It all happened on the 7th of October, but we're hearing more and more of these examples of sheer depravity. I'm going to come back to unpack more of that, but first we're going to go to our correspondent Hamda Salhut, and she joins us for the latest update on the ground in northern Israel. And Hamda, talk to us about the latest concerns around Hezbollah's next possible moves. We're focusing obviously right now on the Hamas terror attack on the 7th of October, but many people wondering if Hassan Nasrallah is going to be fully involved in this war, and if so, when?
That's right, Benita. The question is not if, but when. The Hezbollah chief meeting just yesterday with the head of Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, saying that they're in this for the long haul, saying that they're in this together. The exchanges of fire along the Lebanese border have been continuous since October 7th, with Hezbollah looking to target Israeli military observation posts and other military assets like artillery positions. Now, 46 Hezbollah combatants have been killed on the Lebanese side, along with 4 from Hamas and 4 from Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And remember, 3 weeks ago, when this war began, the Palestinian factions operating in southern Lebanon said that they were, quote, eager to join the fight. But Hezbollah is the one who needs to take the lead, because they are essentially in charge of anything that will come out of their territory in terms of weaponry. Now, the exchanges of fire today have been somewhat intense. There are still fires burning inside Lebanese territory. It's incredibly hazy here in the north. The smell of smoke is everywhere, and the Israeli military is still on high alert, closing several areas here. The National Emergency Center in Israel has said that the number of evacuees in both the north and the south has now exceeded 125,000 individuals. And while a majority of them are from the south, there is a good chunk of that number from the north. Remember, weeks ago, the Israeli military first evacuating communities 2 kilometers from the border. That's 28 different towns, and then exceeding it to 5 kilometers. So we're talking about tens of thousands of Israelis who have left these northern communities. The military has set up checkpoints everywhere here in fears of the conflict escalating, and also in fears of civilians getting in the middle of the fire that seems to be not letting up anytime soon.